Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Winnipeg by Night. Session 2, Ghast. Our lovely coterie has been given the promise of contacting the Giovanni, specifically Azura Giovanni. The previous evening, at the Hauer apartment block, a rundown location found in their recently seized domain had ended up giving them pause. Investigating it almost took their own lives, realizing something was inside. Something that isn't seen by mortal eyes, something that isn't felt with mortal hands. And yet, there's such a rage. Coming to the conclusion, at least seems to be with the entire coterie, save for a few questioning mouths that we might get into later. The coterie has managed to end up orchestrating a meeting tonight at the park. Azura Giovanni will be here meeting this coterie, and a deal may be struck. But with so few bargaining chips to use, I wonder on how it'll go. So, with that being said, I would like, with a new night, to begin with rouse checks. Ruby, what's your current hunger?
4.
Omen?
That poses an interesting little issue tonight.
Omen, what's your current hunger?
Current hunger is 1.
1. Omen, never the pragmatist. Adder. Sure hunger.
I'm at 1.
Which leaves Colton.
Colton is at 2 currently.
Excellent.
He got a little hungrier tonight.
Sometimes these things happen. So, with my notes completed, there we go. That awkward moment where you end up realizing that none of your stuff wants to line up. Oh well, deal with that later. A surprise visitor. Spring is coming, a time of new life. We end up finding ourselves tonight as the sun has fallen. Winnipeg has that feel it normally has. That kind of feeling when you are curious, you're walking down the wrong place. See, Winnipeg's not like New York. See, New York's known for towering skyscrapers. A metropolis with everybody packed in like sardines. But like many cities up north, that's not the case for Winnipeg. Winnipeg has its towers, something that could maybe qualify as a skyscraper. But reality is most most of it are only a few stories tall, which makes the Hauer apartment block odd little perch, almost 5, maybe even 6 stories tall. Stands out a bit as a ruined husk of what once was. Now, the city here around Mountain Avenue is sparse. Some buildings only 2 stories tall, made with old brick of a bygone era. The city streets are cracked and damp, a reminder of winter's touch upon the city. And with winter falling, now we have that smell of rancid garbage. The kind of stuff that was stuffed in the back alley, the kind of stuff that was just left to the side to start its rotting all over again with thawing of the ground. It's in this city, this little part of town, where our story begins. The coterie has all managed to get together. The park amongst the hid domain offers a nice place to end up gathering, if not a little out in the open, at the very least. Plausible deniability. While you may find a handful of private clubs and what have you, they offer either exclusive membership or such a rat hole that it's offering very, very little in the way of enjoyable culture, save for a place to drink your woes away. Who is it that arrived first?
Colton usually probably would be one of the few that shows up early and just doesn't usually walk to the meeting place, but kind of lurks in the shadows, just watching, seeing who's around.
Yeah, I imagine so. Colton, it's always good to end up having some degree of cautiousness. I mean, let's be real here. In the world of vampire, there's a simple truth, one that often gets lost in the shuffle. You're either prey or you're the hunter. And forgetting which one's which is usually the quickest way to find yourself filling an urn. It's a quick way to end up seeing your final sunrise. And that is a truth that probably it would keep you to the shadows before you made the choice. Predator or prey?
Hatter would probably be getting there very relatively early into the night as well, as he doesn't really use his cell phone much except on the very rare occasion. Otherwise, he when he walks very quietly, and when you see him, he seems to have his head on a swivel pretty regularly. He's always looking over his shoulder, always looking into the distance, always looking over his shoulder again. His hands kind of tucked into the pockets of his hoodie, keeping his whatever belongings he's carrying to a minimum.
Ah, yes, the telltale signs of someone who's used to being prey. Adder, maybe you're approached by Colton at some point. Ruby, Owen, I have no doubt that you arrive soon on location. A chance for you to reconnoiter. After all, the sun has just set. And if Azura is anything like what you might believe, you imagine even if she did take some time to feed, there is, let's just say, they have very little time before she arrives.
How is everyone tonight?
Oh, shit, doing pretty alright, I suppose. How y'all?
Could be better.
Could be worse.
Well,
Ruby's
that's no way to
dressed.
begin a new night.
Ruby's dressed a little bit differently tonight, with more of a winter hat on and gloves on, but there may be a small trickle coming from underneath the hat. Hair dye, maybe?
You got a little
Oh, gonna reach up, brush over with glove. An unfortunate circumstance, at best.
why your hair dye is kind of leaking out your hair? Did you make it too runny?
You had time to dye your hair before this shit?
I dye my hair every night, honey. I'm not a natural redhead. Or do you think people are naturally this brightly red-haired?
I mean, hey, I don't know. Maybe you got passed and your hair was like bright ass red.
Colton,
Makes sense to me.
Colton,
Yes.
would you do, because you're a little higher up there, would you mind rolling me a wits awareness, please?
Sure. I can do this, sir.
Mm. That
Four
is 4
successes.
successes. Nicely done. Colton, I guess it shouldn't be too much of a shock. I mean, after all, you're all bloodthirsty killers. Well, I guess some of you may not have taken a life, though the odds of that, I imagine, are slim to fucking none. And yet, there's that smell. What's that smell? It's blood.
Things to me.
Maybe somebody just became a sloppy feeder tonight. It just does smell rich. Even if a little faint.
I kind of, while I'm feeling, might passively try to figure out where it's coming from, or if I could, who, but I wouldn't make it overtly obvious.
Always good not to tip your hand. After all, what did I say at the start? You're either predator or prey. And not knowing which role you are currently inhabiting can become a very, very messy situation. Well, no elder ever ended up getting that way by being cautious. Then again, most of those you'd find in the Camarilla, so what does that tell you?
What is on the agenda tonight?
Agenda. Thankfully, Azura was actually available first thing tonight. It's a good thing we got here early. And at which point we can ask her to deal with our werewolf spirit problem. The only problem being is she's probably going to request payment, and most lately ask for payment up front.
Mm.
That begs the question, Adder. You always got your ear to the ground
I
and
try
familiar
to.
with many patterns. At least try to anyway. Of course. What would you have heard about the Hakata recently? What kind of problems they be having? Because we might be able to help them out.
That is a very good question. What do I know about Azura Giovanni?
Hmm. Always good to end up keeping yourself ahead of the game. So let's start off with, what is your intelligence politics?
5.
I'll give you an offer here, Adder. You can roll for it and make it messy, or you can take half, with basically making it 2.
I'll roll for it.
Can I assist him with this?
You know what? Yes, this is you guys trying to figure it out together. Nothing
Mm.
separating you, having a little bit of small talk amongst yourselves. So I'd imagine.
Can I
that's
also
possible.
assist?
Ooh.
If you have a dot in politics, you most certainly can.
I do.
And politics plus 2 for 1 for. Does Colton have any politics?
No, he is very new to this place.
Very new to this place. Ooh, that's 6.
Azura Giovanni. Currently, the only known member of the Hecata in existence in the city of Winnipeg. At least the only one who's come forward and been active. There's a very tenuous relationship with the Hecata, specifically with the Giovanni family. You see, the Hecata isn't what you would typically think of as a clan. It's probably, it's more akin to part mob, part cult. With Azura Giovanni, specifically. She takes pride in her position as the figurehead of and representative of the Hecata. However, her claim is that when she says this, it's not for the Hecata among Winnipeg. She means the Hecata family worldwide, right off to the old country. Claims to even have ties there. Now, Adder, you would know that while many would say this is a bold claim, this is not completely unusual for the Giovanni. You see, for them, they are a little bit exclusive, shall we say, with their embrace. To be embraced as a Giovanni, maybe a little looser in the Hecata, but specifically Giovanni, that is something that is taken very seriously. If you remember your old mob movies, the idea of a meta, some say that wasn't originally a Giovanni practice. If the rumors are true. So, for Azura to be embraced and be the representative of the Giovanni family, well, maybe there's a reason, despite the fact that distrust, because she is part of a larger organization, that many don't try to take her out. Maybe a few neonates have tried, maybe a few of them have taken a swing, no one successful. And probably no one have made it back. Who knows? The important thing to end up recognizing is she is incredibly well connected in that regard. As for what she's doing in the city, 6 successes. Word is that Azura has taken advantage of the death that was brought on by Prince Dufresne. For some unknown reason, Giovanni, the Hikata, the clan of death, has an allure to such things. Now, with Azura specifically, she's been known to stake out what were really Camarilla here slaughtering grounds. Hell, even spent a fair amount of time in the North and West End. They seem to have a knack for sniffing out the dead and things long since departed. And yet, she continues on with her search, shall we say? With a fair amount of enemies who wanting to end up taking a swipe, and barons not wanting to bring more attention from the Hekata. It leaves Azura in a very interesting position. No real recognized domain, no real recognized anything. Just a lone wanderer, going from one end of the city to the other.
Second question regarding that. Does she and Creature have a good relationship or no?
I imagine that it's about as net neutral as you can expect. Rachel might have kept the name around just because, hey, it's best to end up knowing people. At the very least, you know who they are. Rachel's always had a way of getting what he needs. Then again, part of that is because of you, and the time you've spent embraced under him. Azura, probably just another individual going in. Who knows? Maybe he decided to try and whisper in her ear. Or maybe he was tired of doing the whispering. After all. And there's something alluring about the power, prestige, the want to belong to something greater than yourself. Throw those notions aside, after all, especially in an anarch society. Everything for the cause, though. So it turns into a kind of a twisted mirror, doesn't it? Camarilla, talking about the greater whole, the anarchs, what's new to come. Everybody looking for that place they fit in. And because of that, Azura is not much different. A puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit in the grand designs of the four barons.
And I express to the rest of the coterie what I know about Azura. That she might be a solo Hikata, but don't take her for a fool. She might have a whole mob behind her.
No doubt.
Well, shit.
Is there anything you four would like to do to prepare before you end up meeting Azura?
I've got nothing on my docket.
Preferably feed, but I don't think there's enough time for that.
No, you can always chance it. It's
Always ask for
of,
help.
It's always a roll of the dice, Ruby.
Yeah. You know what? I'll take that chance.
Well then, will remind you, you are in a Chase 2 domain. That means I'm looking for a 5+. Are you looking to end up hunting within the domain? Go out to your club try and hunt very locally in order to cut the time down?
Hunting within the domain.
Okay, but not in the local area. You're taking advantage of the whole domain.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll stay at 5 then. Okay.
Really?
3 successes. You can willpower to end up making it, potentially make it 5, which is the requirement.
Yeah, I'm going to willpower.
Okay, we need 2 successes. 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3. That is 4.
That's 4.
Ruby, I would like you to roll me a stamina athletics real quick. Difficulty 3. Let's see if you can make it back in time, or if you're not going to be back quite on time. I did say it would be up to a roll of dice. Ruby. Well, given your condition, maybe it's for the best. But when you're trying to sprint, your fangs are trying to slide out instinctually. Even when you run past somebody, your first instinct is to bite. It becomes incredibly difficult. But you can't miss this meeting. First big thing going on with the coterie. Need to represent as a group. Need to end up showcasing your domain. Hopefully you get there on time. For the rest of us who know better, you wait in the park. Adder, Omen, Colton, guys. You end up seeing a smaller limousine start to pull up. Eventually, the limousine pulls over. And you end up seeing somebody, the chauffeur, open the door. And then walk to the back, opening it for his passenger. A woman with black hair, fairly tall heels, a small little mole on her cheek, dressed in a long coat, steps out. You can see she's pale, almost deathly so. Her eyes are sunken in a little bit, almost like she's got bags under them. Maybe a few you know better. As she starts to look about, she raises a hand to her driver, and with a swirl of her finger, the driver goes back to close the door and then get back in the driver's seat, keeping the engine running. She starts to end up, walking throughout the park as she looks about. Maybe your eyes glaze over you, but then again, maybe they glaze over a few other people as she walks by. But she's not running directly towards you.
Do either of you have Ruby's number?
Would any of us?
Probably.
I imagine Rat would. You're the one who ended up meeting with her the most at the club, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna shoot her a quick text saying you're late, and
Ruby,
before pocketing my phone.
Ruby, you're quite a few blocks away as you end up getting that annoying buzzing coming from your hip. At first, you thought the buzz might have been a mosquito trying to fly its way into your ear. After all, it is Manitoba's national bird. But alas, it's Adder informing you in his round or in his little way that Azura has just arrived.
As she's moving, all she'll do is send back, on my way.
Great.
And Colton would be sitting, probably trying to keep her just absentmindedly petting him, because Earl likes to get antsy when new people show up, making
Yeah.
sure that he's okay.
Yeah, he might be a little bit on edge. After all, Earl's the watchful companion, the one who can typically smell it when something's wrong. And Colton, you know that Earl, what he smells is death. Not the bang bang, two people dead in the gutter with duct tape across their mouth and a smoking hole out the front of their forehead. No, this is old death. The kind of thing you expect when you end up finding a suicide victim 5 months later in a tub. Kind of old death.
Okay, boy. Just keep one eye out. And I'll just keep my head on a swivel looking around, just making sure.
Well, don't everybody jump in greater at once, jeez. And I
I'm
get
waiting
up.
for her to come over. I don't want to rush her.
She
I
might
don't
not
know.
know it's us.
I got this. I got this. Omen's gonna pull out a pen and some paper and kind of walk towards her general area. It's like, wait, is that who I think it is? Then approach her. Oh my god, ma'am, are you that famous actor from the Preacher movie? Can I have your autograph? A few of my friends would love to like question you on your role. Oh my god.
Her head turns. Very distinctly. When most people turn to look at you, this is something you wouldn't pick up with unless you were either trained for it or you've been dead a while. No, man, you have been dead a while. It's that weird thing. See, humans, because of their, shall we say, evolutionary line, have a tendency to end up looking with their eyes first and then turn their head second. It's a reaction found in a lot of animals that would at some point occupy the midpoint of the food chain, you know, able to eat meat but are very vulnerable to do so. It's an instinctual behavior. But that's not what Azura does. Her eyes stay straight, and instead her head starts to turn to you. And looks at you. And it's a long look. Maybe you even notice for a brief moment that her eyes go completely black before they come back again. Of course, darling. Let it never be said I didn't end up taking time for a fan.
Hell yeah. Man, my night is just getting better and better.
No need to make a scene.
Sorry. Acting like the obvious fanboy I am. I ain't say that out loud, just always acting. Come, let me introduce you to the group.
She walks behind. She never allows you to walk behind her.
Understood. Also, she would know that Omen, kind of strapped across his back, has a very thin duffel bag. But he leads her to the group. Hey guys, good news. Found her. Still haven't got the autograph yet.
Colton will stand and give a nod like, ma'am.
Somebody had a proper upbringing.
Hi.
And someone didn't.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I was expecting 4.
Yes, the fourth is running just a little bit late. She'll be here momentarily.
We apologize for the inconvenience.
We'll certainly fill her in ourselves when she arrives. But yeah, we're the Crimson Nightshade, and we have asked you here because we have a request.
Well, yes, that depends on the request, doesn't it? Richard didn't leave a whole lot of details.
Typically doesn't. Usually leaves that for the parties involved to discuss on their own, you know. But I think it's something that might interest you.
Azura Giovanni. Of the Giovanni family.
Pleasure to meet you, Miss Giovanna.
Giovanni. Dear, put the music in it.
Oh, I thought that's what I said. Sorry.
It was it.
Colton will just look.
Sorry.
Colton Brooks. Gangrel.
Always had a pleasure working with beasts.
Hmm.
Ferocity comes in such fun little flavors.
At this point, Omen would actually turn to her and be a bit more calm, kind of shedding the fanboy performance. Devin Laurentius. Most people call me Omen. I am of Clan Bura.
Oh, man. Fun little name. Cien, what do you have me coming all the way out here in this little shithole to come deal with?
You said that. Oh, sorry. Do you mind if I go for a second coffee? Okay. You said that you were liked working with Ferocity. If that's true, then what we have to ask of you might be of interest.
This whole city's a bit of interest to me. It's just a matter of what's worth the time. I like to keep my relations straightforward. No misunderstandings.
It's easier that way.
You heard about the arson that happened at the Hauer building, right?
She rolls her eyes up into the back of her head for a brief moment. Like as if her eyeballs are literally rolling back up to observe her own brain to see if anything's filed away. Before snapping back. Ah, unfortunate that. You can still smell it on the wind tonight. Still fresh.
Well, there's a reason for that. There's a a spirit haunting the place.
Don't usually have neonates. Presumed. Talking too much about spirits.
Well, the building took rather great offense to the fact that we had actually gone there to investigate in the first place. And when we investigated further, trying not to lose our heads, we found the indications that a werewolf had been trapped there. And I think its spirit is lingering in the building. Thought it might be of interest for you to at least investigate.
We didn't know how to proceed with something like this. It is definitely out of our wheelhouse. But it is vicious and strong. And I know that, at least when it comes to animals, things like that need to be controlled or put down. But they do have their uses as well.
The gangrels, he is speaking words of wisdom. I like that. You must be the brains of the operation. Of course, you're right. Can't just leave something like that lurking alone. Alas,
Hurt somebody.
Pardon?
Could hurt somebody.
It's going to do that one way or another. But then again, I mean, how many people end up finding themselves in an abandoned building, some small ceiling cave in, leaves a chunk of concrete caving in their skull? Been known to happen. Accidents happen. Mortals tend not to pick up on these things too much unless there's another reason.
Well, it's an eyesore.
You got me there. So,
Kind of clean up the neighborhood a little bit.
no matter how much you wash with your hands, the blood stays. Little ladder. Well. So, what do... Let's see here. Let me think this through. You want me to excise this spirit, remove it from the premises, be gone with you out. This is our property So
If
it's no
you
longer.
think you can.
If you think that's best. I don't know.
Which one do
We-
you want? What I think I can, or what I think what's best?
Hmm.
They're not always the same
I-
thing.
I got a question.
Sure thing.
It, like, I don't know, like, the full extent of how y'all, Takata Giovanni work. Is there a way y'all can, like, just, like, capture it or something and relocate it? Or, because, I mean, if you can, you could keep it. I don't know how that works.
Even if I could, I'd need a little incentive. I mean, if this sounds like a you problem, you want me involved, I would like to end up coming away with something other than the leftovers. You don't promise a carpenter the leftover lumber.
No.
I have a hypothesis as to whose den it was. Would that do for payment?
Yeah. But I think I can work something out. The place was destroyed, right?
Still
Yep.
crumbling, but yeah.
So if I were to remove this, well, then all I end up needing is a little bit of incentive to do so. And I think the important incentive is that I'm looking out for the domain too. So all I'm asking for is the right to end up coming in onto your turf and take a bite when I need it. No
You
question.
won't find much.
Don't worry. I've dealt with worse. I can find what I'm looking for right
her basically moving in on our turf.
Yeah, but look at what the fuck she could potentially offer if we get on her good side. Potentially. I mean, I still rather be left the fuck alone. But I mean, it opens up opportunities, man.
Look, I get the opportunity thing, but right now, we're already struggling to find something to feed on. If we add another kindred to our domain where she's living here and or feeding here permanently, that's another mouth to feed.
Ruby, I would like you to end up making me another athletics check, please. Stamina athletics.
Okay. Hey, that's better.
There we go. And as Adder speaks, Ruby comes running around the corner. Almost like she's sweating. Little
Did you have any luck?
If I had any luck, my dear little snake, I wouldn't still have the hat on.
Point in case.
Then what do we offer as kind of offer? Because, I mean,
I could offer a job for a job.
What kind of a job do you do?
I'm good at finding things or hunting them.
And that is just about every kindred in the entire Manitoba province.
What is she wanting in return for this job?
She wants to feed on our turf, willy-nilly, as she wants.
For how long?
Permanent. Until she says otherwise.
I see.
And I'm not about to add that to our already existing problem. And you are indeed the case in point, my dear Ruby. It took me 4 hours yesterday to find something to snack on, and that's good compared to the mosh pit.
Well, here's the thing. Either we figure out something that she wants that's an alternative, or we don't really have much of a choice. I didn't hear anybody else jumping up to
She
over
wasn't
that.
exactly jumping at the information that we have about the place and the thought that it might be you know whose den.
Mhm.
Which would make sense, Adder. It's not like the Giovanni were power players with the Camarilla when Winnipeg was Camarilla.
Yeah, she wouldn't particularly care.
But,
I mean,
Adder, the problem is you're not paying the attention to the right things right
Yeah, I want to know what could be a good offer that we do have.
now. Okay. Roll me a wits empathy, and this is going to be at a -1.
It's an insight -1. Okay. Yeah. Icky.
Yeah, you got nothing.
Nothing.
2 dice, no successes. Well, at least it wasn't a bestial crit.
hmm,
Or
Piece of failure.
bestial failure, yeah. Leave me alone. No caffeine. Give.
This goes into a question, actually. Bare bones information on Hakata.
Okay.
And since our knowledge of the domain, could
Okay.
I also try to figure out what would be a good counteroffer?
In order to counteroffer, you need to know what a person actually wants.
Yeah, that's true.
You might notice that she's actually been very cagey to let you know what she wants. In fact, her offer to say she'll feed on this domain is surprisingly bold and flippant.
I have an inkling on her potential feeding type out of character.
Yeah.
Because she said feeding here wouldn't be a problem for her.
What if this is a limited time offer?
I would say having a cap on it is a definite, but
Yeah.
I think we should offer her something simpler and before see if something that we can do, a job for a job.
I'm in agreement with this. A job for a job seems adequate.
It's better than the feeding.
Yeah, that's owing a debt. And I'm not keen on owing anybody anything. But if you all would like, that's what we can offer. Just so long as I'm not the only one paying the damn debt.
Oh, I offered to take the debt by myself, so you know that I'm in.
I mean, I'm willing to help you out, Colton, with it. So,
I had no intention on letting you guys say goodbye yourselves.
I mean, we all kind of just squander around here, so it's kind of all of our problem.
Well, I'm still gonna have to pay a preacher back for this whole get together anyway.
I'm sure he just wants a hug from you as repayment. Anyway, so we're all in agreement, yeah?
Yeah.
And our offer is a limited time.
If she wants feeding rights, it would definitely be limited to a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Or a job. That way we give her a choice.
I mean, multiple offers on the table.
I guess.
Don't look at me. I'm not exactly the most convincing person in the entire world.
Then I guess
I'll
it
do
comes
it.
down to who's presenting the offer.
Oh, Colton. Colton will walk up to her. I've talked to my coterie mates.
Colton, as you end up approaching her, you notice that her lips are moving. She's not facing you. There's no one there, at least no one that you can see right now. And yet, when she speaks, in these murmured whispers, seeming to be completely detached from the idea that you're even approaching.
Stand and wait till she's done.
5 minutes go by.
Good
Did
listening.
you see this?
Okay, if it's past 5 minutes. What was her name again? Sorry.
Azura. Azura Giovanni. Giovanni. You got me doing it now, Adder.
Miss Giovanni.
She does that weird thing where her head turns, but her eyes are straight forward until they go on to you. Azura, please. Colton.
Azura. I have talked it over with my coterie mates, and we would like to offer you one of two things. Either a job for a job. One of us has a skill set that could be useful to you. Or if you are in need of the feeding grounds, it would be on a limited time, not permanent.
I understand. You want to make sure that you always have the say on your little bit of turf. You fought it from Mangle. You don't want somebody just coming in, taking what you took.
Well, it's also an exchange of sorts. If it's too unbalanced, then future dealings could be tainted.
It's always unbalanced, Colton. The question is how shrewd of a negotiator you are.
Hmm.
So, do you fancy yourself a shrewd negotiator?
I don't know if I'd say that, but I'm always to the point. I'm more about the results than the butterflies and the sweet words.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot here right now, Colton. So let's deal. Colton, I would like you to roll me a charisma persuasion. And we're going to end up using that result to see what you can manage to negotiate.
I'm going to rouse the blood for this
Let's see.
because, come on, baby.
Give me this charisma, gay girl.
That is 6
Oh, that's a crit.
successes. That is 8 successes.
That's great.
Let me do my rouse check, sorry.
Nope. Remember, you roll first, then you end up with. You do the rouse check, but it doesn't penalize the current roll.
Yeah, I know. I did the roll, but I need to do the rouse check because I blood surged.
Yep.
Fair.
Okay, we're good. We take these.
Colton, you start feeling it out. The more you start feeling it out, the more you're starting to get this feeling, this little bit of pushback. Like it was a big ask, it was a big tease. But dealing with you, back and forth, eventually you start realizing you got a little bit of pushback. Oh, okay, there's something. There's a line here. There's a line Azura's going. You're not sure what it is, but you're feeling it out. Much like when the power goes out in high school orgy, it's you gotta feel these things out. You gotta end up finding yourself. Sometimes you're grabbing on to bits you like. Other times you're wondering what's going on here. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's a little awkward. Sometimes you just gotta stay in your place, and sometimes you just gotta go along for the ride. But at this exact moment, after a fair amount of discussion, to which Adder, Ruby, Omen, you can observe from the outside, Colton, you have her down to 1 month. Hell of a talk down from eternity, I'd say.
All right. Colton will just, after they negotiate that down, he'll just hold his hand out.
She looks at it and takes it. And you realize her grip. There's something about that grip that is. It's firm. But it is literally a single handshake, a single raise and lower. It's not that she has the grip of a hydraulic press. It's more that when she does the motion, that's all she's doing. She does the motion.
It's always a pleasure to do business.
I'll get to work immediately.
Will you need an escort, or will you be fine alone?
If you wish, don't mind an audience to see what they're paying for.
I'll join you if you don't mind.
And what about your crew?
Well, that is up to them. And up to you. I don't know if you want to be crowded.
Your turf. I'm just doing a job.
I'll go along.
I'm down to join.
I'll go as well.
It takes a minute. You end up finding yourself at the horror apartment block. It's rough. You can still feel it. Something in the wind. Like the wind kicks up just a little bit here, protesting your arrival. The moonlight, what little of it there is in the light pollution of Mountain Avenue, showcases a husk. You can see the tape, caution fluttering, holding against the rails, the boards that were put up to end up keeping squatters out, though that doesn't keep many people out, as you've earlier seen. The limo pulls up. Admittedly, it's good for seating all of you, though definitely not many more. The limousine is of interest, actually. The leather seems to be old as well. The kind that cracks, the kind that has been left out in the sun maybe a little too long. It's definitely not what you would call a modern car. Though it does the job. You pull up to the horror apartment block. You see her here get out. And she starts to reach to her side. And she pulls out these strange little pieces of metal. As she starts flipping through them, like as if she's counting them like keys. Eventually she stops at one and pulls it off of the rest of the chain. What is everybody else doing as this goes on?
Alton would be watching his surroundings because the last time he was here, apparently someone tried to run us over with a truck. So he is going to make sure of her safety.
Gonna use sense the unseen.
Yeah, I'll have my eyes going as well so I can see in the dark better.
Ruby's
Alright.
got Sense the Unseen going.
All right. Roll me a wits and aspects for those using sense the unseen, because that would be important at this exact moment. Now, Colton, you said you were also using sense the unseen, or you were using?
No, I have Eyes of the Beast. So I think that I'm pretty sure that's just darkness, right?
That's just darkness. So you don't
Yeah.
see this. However, Omen and Ruby, you don't need much to see the obvious. Maybe you felt it. Maybe you felt it earlier. You just didn't know what you were feeling at the time. As you see, she's holding on to that those little pieces of metal as she pulls one off. But you can see these little ties, these wisps that emanate off of the others and start to swirl her. And the more you focus your eyes into the things that shouldn't be seen, you realize these wisps go up and up. As your eyes go to the moon, you realize that what you're seeing isn't a moon. If I had to describe it in any other way, a tornado of souls. Each bound, each waiting, each clamoring in their little link of a chain. Some of them look old. Some look like they were maybe soldiers. Others, victims of tragedy. Some look like monsters. Some, well, I dare not say. If she continues uninterrupted, Azura walks to the door, and you can see almost like these spirits are tendrils starting to go into the walls, starting to go into the floor. You can see the place seem to shift as she takes that single chain and places it down. Blood follows and flows. It's like the whole place becomes darker. You see bits of the 2x4s that are built for the structure start to jut out like great teeth, starting to bite against her, threatening to pierce her at a moment's notice. Like the house, the hip apartment block wants to split open wide into a great maw and consume her whole. What's going on in your minds, Ruby and Owen? Or Omen?
This is something I have never seen before, and I'm kind of horrified.
Ruby's in awe over it. Just watching very interested in what's going on and almost in a stunned silence.
Ruby, roll me. You have some knowledge of the occult, if I recall.
Yeah, I have a dot.
Roll me an intelligence occult. Not much to go off of, Ruby, but if you had to guess, those bits of metal, probably more than just scraps from a junkyard. If you had to guess, there's some kind of fetter, a leash, which she ends up holding these many souls. At least a dozen, probably more. Hard to count, as some of the links are not used. But perhaps that unto itself is enough to belie her intent this exact moment. If no one has anything to do or say, then I will allow Azura to continue.
Always just casually has his hand on his bag. More so as a comfort than anything, but he's watching him in there.
Her back's turned to you, so you can't see the full detail of it. She doesn't move, but it's almost like the entrance swallows her whole. You end up seeing the dark start to just erase her. It's blacker than pitch in there. And it's at that moment you all get this sharp cold, like a wind. But it's stagnant. It doesn't have that smell of garbage. It has that smell of almost like ozone. And it's cold. It's so goddamn cold. If you're dead, I guess that's not as much of a problem. You still feel it. Condensation of spring air starting to manifest on glasses, metal, and jacket. Right down to that weird little button Adder wears. Omen. You end up feeling it the most. You feel it because you can see it. The dark you're seeing isn't dark, it's something else. It's not the absence of light, it consumes light. A void, like somebody just cut a hole in reality. And you found out that beyond the world you see here is nothing true fucking entropy. This goes on for a long period of time as you see the house or the apartment block shift, crack, almost like it's threatening to crumble, to buckle, to break. The creaking of wood ends up becoming a howl, a all too familiar to the rest of you, as you end up seeing this situation start to become something else. The sound of a nail being pulled out of wood, like a cry for help. Another, like the pleading of a child. High-pitched squeak happening all across it before a final crash of protest. And then, like your eyes are allowed to refocus, you see Azura holding on to a tiny piece of metal. Her back leaned against the wall, staring at it intent. Small cuts, bloodless wounds. As she turns away, for Omen and Ruby, you can see it. Another thing lashed and swirling just overhead, screaming in silent rage, fighting its bonds, fighting its mass, reaching up to the sky to Mother Moon, as if the light of the moon would save it. You're all damned, and I guess this is what the damned do. They're not the only ones going to hell. Everything they touch goes to hell. Sometimes that hell is on Earth, right here. Adder, Colton, you both end up seeing Azura as she starts to walk. She's taking this strange piece of metal as she puts it on the ring with the others, twisting it to make sure it finds its proper place.
Take it. It was a success.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How?
Do you say that out loud?
Yes. What was that darkness?
Wow. She looks to Colton for a brief moment, then back to you, Omen. That pure truth, my dear Omen. Pure truth.
Fuck.
Maybe some other night if you want to invite me back, but I have a very jealous family.
I said that out loud. I didn't mean to. Uh,
Your expertise is appreciated.
She holds up the ring of little shards of metal through your ear for a moment. I found this evening taxi. Tonight I hunt.
As agreed, 1 month.
Thank you for helping.
A pleasure, I'm sure. Nader, I will end up hoping that your coterie is good to their word. Your little gang is a curiosity. And you see her head not only turn, but it tilts sideways in a way that makes you feel like her neck might threaten to break at any moment as she looks to Ruby. Like something just caught her eye. The curiosity in hollowed eyes. Before it snaps back forward to look at
We
the rest.
greatly appreciate your help.
I am glad to hear it.
Happy hunting.
If
don't-
you need any help with anything, you know where we are.
That's right. I know where you are, dear Owen. And I will look you up sometime. After all, I like this place, she says as her head kind of turns to the Hauer apartment block. And the way she looks at it, the only way to describe it is though she found a lost lover, swooning over a high school crush, maybe. But it's a dead thing, it doesn't. Before eventually, unless interrupted, Azura makes her way off the scene.
Was it worth it, everyone?
Well, it's definitely gone.
It's her problem now. That's for sure.
I don't think it's gonna be a.
Well, she is surely gonna have fun with it, though.
Okay.
Many levels.
Or which one?
So do you truly think that what we did tonight was worth it?
I'd rather have that thing taken care of than loose.
Why?
I don't like loose ends.
It was
These
chained
things gotta
here.
change. For how long?
Now it's loose.
No. Now it is leashed to a member of the Hikata.
And you don't think that she's going to sick it on us the moment that she has a chance? Did you see how she was looking at the building? She wants this place.
I doubt that was the only spirit in there. But that
Well,
was
more
definitely
like
the
that.
most malevolent.
And I'm sure she knows exactly what has happened here. Now. And I didn't have to tell her a thing.
Regardless, what's done is done.
I hope you're happy. I think that Ruby, we need to get you settled.
Yes, I love being covered in blood, just more on my term.
It's a little rank.
You can blame Daddy Dearest for it. He passed it on.
Well, I am more than happy to help you out with that. Because the sooner we get that taken care of for you, the better.
It'd be appreciated.
Just a word of wisdom. Don't tell an older kindred you can't do something. They'll leverage it. They'll hold it over you. And use it to keep you down.
I'd rather not put on an air.
Yeah, it'll keep you down if you let it.
Suit yourself. Oh, Ruby, let's go get you something to eat. Huh?
Yeah, let's go. I'm tired of this place.
And
It is an eyesore after all.
I think that is a phenomenal place to take a little break. Be right back, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience as we now return to Winnipeg by Night, Episode 2, Ghast. Ruby, you have just bore witness to Azura chaining the spirits that had earlier tried to kill all four of you. For the price of simply being able to feed on your turf for next month. Some say you got off lightly. Others might end up disagreeing, saying you've just handed somebody a fairly sizable edge. I guess it depends on who you ask and whose problem it's going to be next. Yours, on the other hand, is a little bit different. You, hunger kicks in. That insatiable hunger. That kind that typically ends with somebody being in a body bag or found at the bottom of a dump half composted. That kind of thing that brings out the worst in you. Even now, you can end up getting some more color back in your face, but that might have something to do with the small trickle of blood, a single drop constantly coming out from the now blood-soaked brim of your hat. Your curse. The hungrier you get, the worse it gets. Eventually, it breaks through. Kindred often refer to this as stigmata. What makes it worse, Ruby, is that moment, you have to be very cautious. If you were to encounter another kindred who is as hungry as you are right now, well, maybe their beast would have something to say. Because there's a free meal right there. But you're in the hands of dear Adder. A little snake in the grass. Truly a trustworthy face if ever did see. You know, with that grin that goes a lot wider than any human should be able to pull off. But you got your own problems right now. Because you can feel it. And every time you look around, you can end up seeing it. That need to rip out the jugular and start to bathe in the pulsating carotid artery. Just the thought alone is enough to bring your fangs out, and even if you may detest violence, not to say I've seen any evidence to the contrary, but eventually the beast gets the best of us all. That predatory instinct in every vampire. For you, however, makes it all the worse. Because something is clearly wrong. Even if you try and hide it, you can't hide it forever. And it takes not more than maybe an hour before you start leaking like a sieve.
Thankfully, it's winter, and the hat and gloves she chose are able to soak up a good portion
Well,
of
I
blood.
guess for you it's winter. Most of Canada calls this spring. Which means snow is still kind of on the way out, but still got a chill. People still wear hoodies, still wear toques, people still wear hats, but for you, imagine the situation is a lot more sloppy.
Got Adder with me. He's never. Well, he's tried. He never really steers me wrong. Not too far. Not yet, at least.
So where are we headed to, Ruby dearest?
Well, I really don't want to go to the club like this.
No, you're a mess.
I was thinking about some of the bars around here.
Thinking more like something like a dive, where, you know, a crack to your head isn't gonna go, I don't know,
Something like that.
terribly awkward.
Yeah, that's something like I was thinking.
Well, there's plenty of them around. Did you have anything in specific?
Not really. As long as I can lure them out.
Question. Do you have a type?
Not really.
So, any old person will do just fine. That's good. I've known some very picky vampires.
Oh, so have I. Knew someone who could only feed on a type. Goth, not monster. Very peculiar one, that one.
We're not talking about your sire, are we?
Oh god, no.
Because you fit that aesthetic.
No. He was not as picky. Thankfully.
Why do you think he wouldn't have picked you if you weren't his type?
He picked me for an altogether different reason.
That's still part of the story I don't know.
Girl's gotta have her secrets. My dear little adder.
Alright, fine. I'm gonna find out eventually, you know that, right?
I know. But it's just so much fun trying to keep you in the dark.
And why is that? It's just fun.
Just fun. I like seeing you work for it.
I work for lots of things, honey.
Obviously.
Ooh, I should message Preacher at some point. That reminds me, I've got to pay him back for getting us in contact with our dear Hikata friend.
That's alright, you do. I think with that, they're going to go to a bit of a dive bar.
Well, there's slim pickings around here, Ruby, but you know a few places.
I will assist her where I can.
Well, that's gonna lead to a little bit of a complication. Ruby, you are currently bleeding out your face right now. I imagine that's gonna complicate issues, so how can you get around it? Because your typical feeding type, well, if I recall, gets a little hot and heavy, which is a little difficult if somebody so much as, well, comes within arm's reach of you. It's not hard to guess that something's wrong. One of the unfortunate tendencies of living with stigmata, I guess.
She's a good liar. She can just lie her way out of it.
Now, I'm kind of curious, what kind of lie would she be able to do that time of the month? Just on the top, not the bottom? What would be the lie that somebody would actually lie and keep them in the mood? There might be a whole lot of freaks, but that's cutting the pie a lot closer than I think most people would be comfortable doing.
Well, obviously Omen thought it was hair dye. She's got an unnatural shade of red for a hair color.
My darling, if I might interrupt, wearing a hat and gloves to bed?
That's fair.
I don't buy that.
Then what do you suggest?
I mean, I could run as bait.
That's fair.
I'm not exactly the most persuasive, though, so might be a little bit, a little less upfront and personal, and a little bit more surprise. Where I just kind of wrap my arm around their neck and you have your way.
Well, that sounds like a little bit more fun.
And dangerous. You like a little danger with your fun?
Oh, I always love a little danger.
Alright. And he'll actually lead her to an alleyway where as soon he's going to be very quiet and stealthy about it, where as soon as somebody who walks by the alleyway kind of comes close enough, he is going to do basically a stick up with a knife. He's got a butterfly knife that he keeps on his person.
Alley cat style, good old and fashioned, homegrown fun.
And instead of using strength, I want to use dexterity. If that would work.
I'll allow it this time, but I'll research it a little bit further later on. So, put an asterisk on it, but I'll allow it. We're still looking for 5 successes.
And does does Ruby have a dot and brawl to help?
She does.
Are you doing brawl, or are you, because that's an actual, like, if you're trying to, okay, so let me clarify. If you're trying for a stick up, that is a different thing than pouncing them in the alley. So there's two different types of alley cats, right? There are the type who jump on their prey kind of like an animal in the middle of nowhere. That's where the strength brawl comes from, right? But the other one, if I recall, is a charisma intimidation, right? That's your stick up.
Okay. That I'm not very good at either.
I could probably do that one.
All right.
I don't have a dot in intimidation, so I can't help.
I've got 2 dots. That's okay. I've got quite a bit of charisma behind it.
All right. Nothing says you can't try feet outside of your type. Special.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe Ruby's done this several times. That's the reason she keeps working a second style of the feeding just in case for this exact situation. Okay. 3 successes. I'm looking for 5. You only have 1. So I'm going to end up giving you a succeed at a cost. But I know that because this succeed at a cost is the only chance of this going through, I'm going to up the cost.
What's the cost?
Since I have a split party right now, I think I want to take advantage of it. So, I hope you trust that Omen and Colton are safe.
Oh boy.
They're together. They should be just fine.
Okay, since
And
Volvo's trying to be kind, I will say it on his behalf. And yes, I'm putting words in his mouth. Fuck you, you bitch!
And like that, I have just jinxed them. I will be taking that cost.
That might be great, but I'm not gonna end up giving you one for this. I need a frenzy check.
Yeah, I know.
And you are at hunger 4, so it's gonna be difficulty 3.
Yeah. And that is unspent willpower, if I remember
As
correctly.
unspent willpower and 1/3 of your humanity.
Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
Figured that would happen.
Yeah.
So. Ruby. You find him. He's finished a cigarette. Looks at the lineup to get, or looks at the door to get inside. Probably pissed off the bouncer or something like that. And he's just talking with his friends. It's very clear. Maybe he's winged a little bit. Maybe took a bump to the head as he was being thrown out. Finishing up the cigarette with the boys before he says he's got to go. You watch. He goes into the back of the building, starts pissing on the dumpster. Clear act of defiance and showcase of Winnipeg hospitality and the service industry. So catching this individual with his pants down and being hands occupado, which is great for you in the first term when you end up coming up behind him. He starts losing more than one fluid at that point, and he ends up he catching himself, trying to stop himself from falling. As you latch onto his back, it's just a moment when you end up feeling it. Shower of crimson splashing across the side of your face. You might have hit something vital. You can feel it because even though he's right there in front of you, you can still feel meat between your teeth. But you're not in the driver's seat anymore. It's instinct. The beast is a fascinating creature. The myth is that vampires need blood to live. That's not technically true. They hunger for blood. But what sates them is the kill. Blood can keep them from crossing that line, take from the unwitting, the less cautious, the vulnerable. Easy pickings. The only thing that really sates the beast, that instinct inside you, is the kill. And right now, you have been hungry for too long. The beast is out. You go feral as you watch from behind your own eyes, tearing into this individual. Adder, you watch this in abject horror, imagine, as you end up
I have to
watching.
try and stop her.
How would you try and stop her? Look at what she's doing to that individual who already was having a bad night, deciding to scroll his complaint in urine on a dumpster. For taking his pen out, he ends up getting his throat ripped out.
Oh, yeah. This was my idea. I've got to fix it somehow. So I am going to do what I can to wedge myself between Ruby and her victim to try and get her to stop attacking him.
All right. Ruby, you are still trying to feed off this individual. Caused the wound, but you are still trying to feed instinctually on this. Adder's getting in the way. Now, you and I both know that you're not going to get anywhere until you at least sate one hunger. Adder's trying to stop you from doing that. So, I'm going to ask you, who gets to play the beast in this scenario? A little bit of an experiment. Is I can assure you, for as much as I like Coffee Cat, I am not above killing him outright with your character right now. And don't doubt my capabilities to do so.
Yeah, I don't know if Ruby would actually have this. Oh no, she might. She's struggling to get to him.
Alright. This is going to be a strength brawl versus strength brawl.
Oh.
Ruby, you already have grip on this individual, so you just need to succeed to end up getting your one hit of blood. Adder, you need to succeed to rip her off.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to get in between. That means you got to muscle through.
Yikers. Okay, isn't that my strong suit?
It's not mine either, so.
We'll give it a shot. I'm rising for this.
2.
Adder,
you get a little hungrier.
But I need it. I need her to stop.
You gotta beat 2. That's it.
Okay.
You do.
At 3.
Ruby, Adder gets in between you two, and you're trying to end up at your head, kill. The blood splatter all about. How do you think your beast responds on this? Do you want me to take control? Because I will. Unless you can convince me, you can show me what your beast really is.
I think her beast would actually turn on Adder for trying to get in the way. Gotta get blood one way or another.
Okay. Now, you need to end up getting this into control somehow. Adder, You know that so long as she is in the sight of blood, she will end up continuing the frenzy until one of three things happen. Either she kills somebody and by drinking them dry, she gets there's some chance to end up gaining some control over herself, but that's going to require her to feed. Or you need to get her away from blood and hope that you're not so covered at this point that she doesn't start looking at you as a permanent meal.
Hmm.
These situations always suck and are so messy, aren't they?
The fucking worst. So, what Adder is going to do is try to use as much of his limber body as he possibly can to kind of wrap himself around her in a way and kind of pin her down
All right, then
where she just stops.
This is going to be a strength roll. Again. Don't worry, she doesn't have a strong pool either.
Mm-mm.
She also doesn't have rerolls like you do.
No. My pool at base is just 3.
Mine too.
Oh, great.
I've been hoping I could use dexterity. I'm weaselly. I'm not strong.
That's not a crit, is it? Well then.
Oh, that's a messy crit.
That is, but it is a combat.
Oh no.
Ruby, Adder, maybe you forget what the beast is like. You see, the human body is a lot stronger than most people think. The difference is that most people, when they push themselves that hard, feel pain. They have a natural aversion to pushing themselves that hard. They don't keep pushing till tendons start snapping, muscle starts tearing, bones start breaking. However, you're a corpse. And Ruby is not Ruby right now. And the beast doesn't care. So you get to feel what this strength really is. As Ruby starts to end up pushing you, you are slammed into the dumpster. You end up feeling a metal give way along with bones and ribs. Now, I'm not going to cause damage here because I'm sure that Ruby right now wants to end up draining you dry. Thankfully, it wasn't a declared bite attack. It's just a shove. Trying to bite into you. As you currently watch another individual who is currently choking on his own blood. Carotid artery severed. He might be dead in a few seconds right now. But Ruby's fangs are out. She's on top of you. You have to end up dealing with there and praying to God that whatever the hell you two are splashing around on, it better be blood at this point.
At this point, I'm just avoiding whatever she's throwing at me. Okay. I have caused enough of this distraction that maybe she'll chase me.
Let's hope. Alright. Ruby, what are you doing?
The person on the ground is dying, though.
If she's gotten him successfully off of her and away from the guy on the ground, considering the blood is right there, she'd probably go back to the guy on the ground.
You think the beast will take the easy kill?
Oh, yeah.
It's an animal. It's that predatory instinct. And you just fended off another predator from what's yours. That's all this is to the beast. One predator going after another. Adder, are you and stop her again? Or are you feeling like some things are just not worth it? Where's your moral conviction lie, Ministry? Or is this that one rule, that one chain that binds you that you need to break and set yourself free?
No, I can't let I can't let this happen.
Can't or won't?
I can't let her be the reason that this person dies.
Then you guys know what I'm calling. Ruby, if you succeed, you will be able to hiss like one hunger. This individual is not capable of defending themselves. It is Adder that is trying to defend them.
Yep.
Okay, strength brawl.
Oh,
Oh.
look, at least it didn't crit this time.
It is a hair, so it's a net neutral. Adder, you have to grab hold of her head. You have to go grab hold of her hair. You have to grab hold of that hat as you grip her by the hair, pull back, and you can feel her hair being pulled out, threatening to scalp her. But the beast doesn't care. But you are holding as you are wringing out her own vitae that stains. You can end up seeing it as though her scalp is slightly ripped off the top. Blood is coming down her face in a horrifying crimson mask. Now the hat's no longer stemming the blood flow to see the real horror of what it is to experience stigmata. Maybe there's a part of you that really wants to taste that. It feels really good. And you can do this. Spend a little bit of blood to take the rest. 2 kills, 1 go. Come on, Adder! Take control of the situation. After all, you're not making a real choice, are you? You're just following a playbook.
Never have a choice.
Because it's
in
like
anything.
you said, you can't.
So I've got her vitae-soaked hat in my hand.
Along with her hair, along with her head, which is the thing that's stopping her from feeding on. But you don't really have full control of the situation, as is very clear. The beast really doesn't care about the condition of her hair.
So in wrenching her head back, I'm taking the hat and I'm shoving it in her mouth.
Okay. It's gonna be cute. A little bit of self-cannibalization. Ruby, you are continuing to try and go for what you feel is a free kill, but this other predator is making it difficult.
I'm able to spend willpower to get out of this, right?
Oh, Adder stopped you from getting the one point of blood you need to end up even start spending willpower for control.
Okay. She's going to continue to fight to get to the guy on the ground.
All right. Adder, you're going to be doing something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
This one is going to be a Dex melee.
Dex melee. That's
Try
what
and-
I'm good at. That is what I am good at. Might not be a knife, but I am very slippery.
Ruby, I need a strength roll.
Alright.
Adder.
Hmm.
Ruby lunges for the old wound, the open wound, seeing a small trickle of blood, a heart trying to keep up. They're trying to pump blood into the brain of this individual as they are laying a pool of their own gore. I believe it's your shallow breathing. As her fangs come down, you, wrapped behind her, manage to slip the vitae-soaked hat into her mouth as she bites into nothing but hat pressing her face against the open wound. Ruby, you taste it. It's not all fighting, I assure you. Some of it's the hat, some of it's the blood from the open wound. But you do get enough to get a single point. You're not out of frenzy, but you might be able to temporarily take control.
And that is what she will do. The second she's able, she's going to try and take control of herself.
Ruby, this man is bleeding on the ground. He'll be dead in seconds if you're not careful. Adder is currently trying to end up shoving what the remains of your now chewed hat, a couple of fang holes through it, into your mouth. Who knew self-cannibalization would taste so sweet?
She's going to start backing up, trying to get away from the man on the ground, the blood, or she loses it again.
And Adder's going to, if he finds that she's distracted by the hat in her mouth, he's going towards the individual to try and close the wound.
How would you do that, Adder? You have some kind of magical powers that suddenly make somebody regrow a quarter of their jugular?
He's going to attempt it anyway.
Let's do an intelligence medicine.
Ugh. Medicine's not so great. It's going to close the wound with a swift lick of the tongue.
Unfortunately, this isn't just a bite with fangs. This is a chunk torn out. That's usually... That's an aggravated thing. Tell you what, Adder. I'm willing to give that a success at a cost.
What is the cost?
He lives. I love cryptic succeed at a cost, don't you?
Yeah, because you make that sound like that's going to be a bad thing for me in the future. Because him living has been my goal.
What? Afraid to shake the monkey's paw?
All right. He'll live.
Adder, you lick the wound, you apply pressure, you slow the bleeding, but you don't know what the hell's going on. You are kneeling in a combination of human fluids that you don't want to think about right now, because the smell is that combination of pungent and oh dear God, why would you do this? And oh my God, why can't I do this? Decisions. As you end up pressing, you end up holding remains of what I guess is a chunk of Ruby's hat. What bit of the wound won't seal. Vitae enriched, soaked in her own head. As you were kneeling, splattered in this man's gore. His breathing shallow. Ruby is stumbling back, trying to get away, lest the beast take hold of her once more. But any second, coming around that corner, you're gonna end up seeing the friends he was smoking with not too long ago. It's supposed to be quiet.
Ruby, get the fuck out.
And that's what she's gonna do.
Ruby, you charge into the back of the alleyway. You are a living wreck. Can't walk the streets like this, you know that. What are you gonna do? Claim it's a modern art masterpiece? Record yourself in puppy blood in order to end up with showcasing some kind of protest about some art painting or some shit? You know what the people are gonna see. You know what they're gonna think. And that's the wrong kind of attention to get if you're trying to hide the fact that vampires exist in this world.
She's gonna stick to the shadows, the alleyways as much as possible. Or stay unseen.
Adder?
Hmm.
You got a choice. You hear people coming. He's either going to be okay or he's not. How much do you actually care?
I want to make sure that at least my emergency services is called. But if they want to see me as the one who mugged him, that's fine by me. I'm just gonna slink into the shadows and disappear. After I'm sure he's gonna get medical attention.
His buddies find him. And they see you. Ruby, I'm going to need a roll from you. This is going to be resolve stealth because that's going to be hard to focus, especially with the amount of blood around you and you just coming out of frenzy. But you might be able to do it. Adder, you say you're getting away. How do you get away?
Obfuscate. I am returning essentially invisible to them.
Roll me a simple rouse check.
Unseen passage.
You can be grateful for the small things, Adder. You managed to slink away. The human eye really can't perceive what you are, who you are. They just see their friend. Doesn't take much for them to start calling. Hang on to it. He's still breathing. They cry out. And in another blood-soaked alleyway, Mountain Avenue. Story that goes on like any other. Because if there's one thing about Winnipeg that is a truism, for fuck's sakes, they kill each other over Slurpees. Life's cheap. Why should death be any different?
At which point I'm gonna go find Ruby.
I think that's a good time to transition to a different scene. Omen, Colton. Guys! Buddies. Pals! How are you two doing?
I think better than the other two.
You sure about
For
that?
now.
What are you two up to? Probably let you go off, frolic and play, and the night all with just enjoying the life.
Probably small talk with Omen find out if he needs anything, but if not, he's got a personal errand he wants to run.
Got a few things I'm looking around for, but with what I've seen, I kind of want to do a bit of studying. So currently, I am free.
Okay. Do you need any? I'll just do this in character. It would be standard. Is that okay, Derek?
Your scene. I'm just here to
Omen.
direct.
What do you have on plan for the night? Do you have any need of me?
Been trying to track down someone, but haven't had too much luck. But given the situation on the domain, probably not the best time to pursue it.
Well, I did have a personal errand to run, but if you have someone to track, you know that's up my wheelhouse, right?
Yeah? Wouldn't mind getting a fresh start up look at the scene again. But it might cause us going into domains we probably shouldn't.
Well, there's a proper way to do that. It's up to you, though.
Omen. Wait a second.
Yeah, it looks like he's on the phone.
Yeah, something happened. You good, Omen? Can't hear you, so I'm gonna presume you're still muted.
Forgot to mute it. Sorry about that.
No, I got it. Are you good to continue?
Yeah. I'm good. Sorry for that.
No, it's okay. Real life happens.
Yeah. So, I'm looking to try to track down someone, and with the help of Colton, it will be a bit of an investigation.
Is it okay if we put this off to tomorrow, though? Or is it a certain thing that needs to be done right now?
No, it can be put off till tomorrow. It gives me some time to prepare.
Okay.
Omen.
Yeah.
As you two are walking, I imagine near the park. This is not too far off when Adder and Ruby already just left. You see something. A figure that seems to just come out of nowhere. It's still a small distance away. Probably 100 yards. About the length of a football field, at least. Very small figure. Dressed in white. Long black hair. Strikingly beautiful. But she starts to walk towards you with purpose. Eyes just focused in on you and Colton.
Emma would actually take a couple steps back. Colton.
Do I notice this?
Yep.
Do I recognize this person at all?
Roll me a... Well, do you have any politics? You don't have dots in politics.
Nope.
You do not know who this person is. Omen?
Do I recognize, can I, like, get a read on this person, like, their intent?
I'm gonna get Omen's roll and then ask me again afterwards, alright?
Okay.
Intelligence politics?
That is correct.
Okay. Let's see.
2 successes is enough for this kind of person. You don't know the full details, but you can guess.
Oh boy.
Miss Kaneko. Fumiko Kaneko. An enforcer
Oh,
from Baron Matthias. One of his personal coterie. Depending who you ask.
what is the enforcer for Matthias doing here?
Do you say that out loud?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Colton,
What did he say? What did you say? Sorry.
What in the world is the enforcer for Matthias doing here? And Omen is continuously backing up.
Colton is going to split off from Omen to the side, and his hand is going to go to his back of his waistband, and just watch and see if he can gauge. I'd like to try to gauge a what their
roll
like,
me a
demeanor
wits
is.
insight. Because you're trying to read it.
Can I assist?
Absolutely.
Okay. You know what? And because I really don't want this scene, like, I'm gonna blood surge.
Okay. Just so there's no misunderstandings. Help.
Yeah, I'd rather not, you know.
5 successes.
Yeah.
She's cool. She's calm. But she's determined. She came at you from a distance. She did so in an apparel that definitely stands out at night. This is an individual who wants to be seen. Or at the
Okay.
very least, wanted to be seen. The way she walks. It's gentle stride, but it's a stride that's unbroken. It's a stride that stays focused and on target. Measured steps, the steps that allow her to move. Well, you've been in your fair share of fights. You know how fighters walk a little differently. It's the type of step that they can move right into footwork in a moment's notice. But that's not the only thing. It's the fact that she is stark white, surrounded in black. Something you think you may have seen before here. Not the same extreme, but for a brief moment you may be reminded of Azura over at the horror in the apartment blocks. But as she walks, see, her eyes are black. You're not sure if she's looking at you or she's looking at Omen. They're just blackened orbs. But a line comes to you from an old movie that perfectly sums up what you're seeing. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
As I'm circling, I'm just going to yell out, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you need any help?
She looks. Baron Matthias wishes to see your presence. You will come with me. You are Omen and Colton. Are you not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What business does that Baron have with us?
Is to discuss, mine to deliver. Please start walking. You see her, she reaches beside herself. Like she's reaching into the dark around her. And while you don't see anything, you definitely hear it. It's that point of steel. Like the rattling of a sword. But she just reaches into the black around her. As though anticipating less than cooperative action.
I have an etiquette question, Derek, for
By all means.
since I'm news. I know how Camarilla games work more, but I've never really been in an Anarch game.
So,
When summoned by a Baron, is it like, do you have to go? Is it like, what's the deal? How does things work?
specifically in Winnipeg,
Yes.
because remember, the whole point of Anarchs is you can't really judge one Anarch city from another. They almost all play
Right.
to their own rules. Hell, you got 4 different barons that are effectively making 4 different cities. So, what you end up now, how you respond is different. Ideally, you're free to do as you will. But a baron typically, while doesn't operate like a prince uses the rule of law. A prince uses tradition. A prince uses all manners, but is bound by it as well. Has to be showcased to serve it. A baron, on the other hand, typically ends up following, or their following is more akin to a cult, maybe a cult of personality, or somebody who has earned a point of respect, a figurehead of a particular group or location, somebody whose word carries a lot of weight, but they usually have to walk the line. As far as who to command, turf is only yours so long as you can hold it, so long as you can maintain it. It's much like how you ended up taking it from Mangle. Anybody can take from you. It's all fair game. It's those little social interactions that make the difference. As for this, you're wanting to maybe make an educated guess. Well, curious on how good your etiquette is.
I want to look over at Omen and see what he's looking at.
Omen's hand is still clutching the top of his bag. But he kind of looks to you and starts saying, "We don't have the other two."
Yeah. Now, also one more question. I don't remember in session 0 the barons that we liked. Was Matthias one of the ones that we liked?
It depends on who you were asking, because everybody had different leaning. There was some as a
read
whole.
who Matthias was.
I know Adder has a soft spot between Baron Louis and Baron Styx. I know that you guys were leaning towards Baron Louis. Baron Matthias is the Baron of the center of the city. He is the one who has managed to claim theaters, the opera house, the art galleries, the legislature building, all the little things that make the world go round. Matthias is a little different than most barons. Matthias is probably the most ingrained into Kine life. To him, every other baron looks at the soldier to the left and the soldier to their right. The ones who will stand behind them, or the ones who will stand with them, or the ones who will help them build something. Matthias is the only one who can truly claim to wield the city itself like a weapon. If he really wanted to, he can have you on the 6 o'clock news and manhunted by 6:30. Go to here near feet on somebody by 7 and have you dead by 8 if he really wanted. The question is are you really that important? Given the fact Fumiko's here. Suffice it to say, I think that your little coterie has gotten some attention for something.
Might be best if we go for now.
Did you say it might be best to go?
Yeah.
I'm just going to kind of start circling and, requesting someone's presence and threatening them are two different things.
You hear a slow bit of metal moving. Sounds like something's unsheathing. Repairing. And you can't see her eyes. They're just orbs of black. So, you can't be sure which one she's looking at. You? Roman.
Meaning you can do this cordially, right? And I'm just going to kind of like tilt my head to the side.
Roman will slowly move his hand from the bag.
You will both come with me. It is not an offer that many would refuse. Pardon.
No, and I don't have a plan to refuse it. I'm just pointing out something.
Let's go talk to the Baron.
You catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
Besides, I'd rather not fight if I don't have to.
Yes. There's no point in the fight if we don't need to.
Hey,
Lead the way, miss.
she pulls her hand up from the dark and gestures. It's like the dark separates to a vehicle. Just a humble Mercedes.
Well, I didn't think I'd be meeting a baron this soon, but let's go, Omen.
Yeah, I like this one bit. And I'm gonna start walking to his car.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely keep her within eyesight.
She waits for you to get in the back of the car. And presuming nobody's going to end up pulling any triggers or decide to play hero, it's tense. But not violent.
would just be comforting Earl because Earl's probably be very much upset, not liking the situation. Whispering to him that everything's okay.
The dog's not allowed to go.
Oh, that would be a problem because Earl doesn't leave my side.
So how would you resolve that?
Well, Miss Fumiko, if you wish to take me, that man is family. He may wait outside of the house that we go to or wherever we go, but I will not leave him in a strange place alone. I'm going with you willingly. I think that is a good compromise. He is well behaved.
What make you think that this is negotiation?
Everything's a negotiation.
Not this. You get that sense. That sense that she's gone right back to where she began. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Fuck, he wouldn't leave Earl behind.
If the dog goes, we go.
Do you guys really want to push it?
That is one thing that I baked into my character, that he would never be separated with him.
Alright, let's make this very clear then. Because this is not a persuasion. This is an ultimatum. So we're going to end up making a scene on who has any give here. Charisma, intimidation. You guys can decide to end up assisting one another, or you can do two separate roles, your choice. Versus Fumiko.
But I argue for a charisma composure. Because he's kind of just
No,
trying to use
you're arguing. You're not
Okay.
holding firm.
Alright.
There's a core difference in that.
Alright. It was worth a shot. I've got 5 dice. Omen.
I said I don't have anything in intimidation.
Okay, so that's just one line. And because she's a scary bitch, I will be rousing the blood.
She will not.
She probably doesn't need to.
Not a good role for her. She tries to stare you down for a moment. And maybe for a moment you're about to cry. Then she taps the top of the door. The door's open. She says something in Japanese. You're pretty sure it's not kind. But while she doesn't say anything, the lady no longer protests.
He'll give her a slight little nod or bow and just get Earl in and just get in with into the seat.
Fast forwarding time. The Winnipeg Convention Center. A location for concerts, conventions, and all kinds of gatherings, with many a room, all customizable with those wonderful little sliding walls to end up serving whatever purpose required. A giant ballroom that ends up overlooking the entirety of Broadway. The ability to end up seeing the lights and glam and the better things. A friendly face on Winnipeg's rotting carcass. The building itself is huge. As the car ends up pulling up. It pulls up to a loading dock where you end up taking what seems to be a loading elevator. Several individuals, all dressed as staff, accompany Fumiko and you as you end up coming in. Each of them appears to be unarmed. Some of them seem to be regular staff, dressed in what appears to be almost an old-timey uniform to end up appeasing the sensibilities of the owner. Pushing around mobile bars, and you can end up seeing trays moved along, perhaps dinners being served in some other section of the building. But as you end up going in, you are brought into a small section, closed off from any windows, a little ways away from a commonly traveled path. Is when you end up coming across an individual who is sitting in a chair, looking out the window. A fair-dressed man. His suit, incredibly stylish. A little bit older in his style, but he wears it incredibly well, with confidence. As he ends up stopping to look to see who is finally entered in. Ah, très bien, Mademoiselle Fumiko, très bien. He stands up with a strong amount of enthusiasm. Oh, incroyable. I am sorry. I thought I would be meeting the four of you. Is there two? Is something happened to Mademoiselle Later?
I believe they had errands to run. We split a little while ago.
Oh,
My apologies, sir.
Okay. Ah. We'll need to end up knowing that they are safe. I sent Fumiko to end up retrieving you as soon as I heard the news. I had worry that such things would end up coming to pass. Pardon. Moi? Je m'appelle Baron Matthias. Et toi? And you are the Monsieur. Monsieur Brooks?
Yes,
Oui?
sir. Colton Brooks at your service.
Très bien. Très bien. Et tu, Monsieur.
Oh no.
Is an odd name that I end up hearing. Pardon. I was hoping to be able to meet you in better circumstances. Mademoiselle Fumiko, you have brought them to me and I'm grateful. Please, do see yourself away. They will do me no harm. She looks like she's about to protest before she turns away. And the rest of the staff end up starting to leave. I apologize. I have not ended up having the opportunity to have this set up for a more appropriate arrangement. would have had flowers, proper cutlery brought out. Perhaps a little jazz or something akin to your flavoring. If only to have made a positive first impression. But when I have heard that your turf recently taken by that horrible thing, Mangel, and then for you to be invaded by the Giovanni, I took it upon myself to end up sending Fumiko to gather you in hopes to protect you. We may not be neighbors, but I know better than anyone to end up falling in bed with the Giovanni.
I'm beginning to see. Oh, by the way, it is just good enough to finally meet you, sir. No, nothing grander. While it would have been nice to enjoy your hospitality, is needed aside from that. Though I think some of the tales that you may have heard have been exaggerated a bit.
You think so?
Though, I do thank you for your concern, though. It is nice to know that the barony is looking out for the little guy.
I have always ended up finding myself embroiled in the whole situation. It is unbecoming, I know. But if I, as Baron, do not end up doing so, then why carry the title at all? I am a servant to the people.
What's the word from that movie? With great power comes great responsibility?
Iron Man, oui.
Yeah, I believe so. Oh.
I absolutely love Kevin Spacey in that film.
But if I can assuage some of your fears, we did a dealing, yes, with the Giovanni, I believe Miss Giovanni was her name.
Yes.
We had a problem that needed fixing, and well, we were out of our element to deal with.
A problem that you could not end up contending with, and you needed to seek help in a specialist.
Yes.
Someone who happened to end up having the exact ability to end up handling the situation. And it happened all so smoothly as to barely ruffle your feathers once the appropriate individual was called. Oui?
Yes, something along those lines.
Is it
It's
almost
good to
as
depend
though
on
I
people.
have had this conversation before?
Oh. I would not, how would I say this? I would not presume that you would know your business.
Monsieur Brooks, this is my city. She has my heart.
It is a beautiful place since I've arrived.
If you know where to look, that is true. Even roses can grow out of shit.
It's funny how they're resilient like that.
As uncouth as that statement may be, I know no higher compliment from a gangrel of such repute.
So what can I do for you this evening, sir?
You have already assuaged my fears. I was worried that. eh, No, no. It is not in good manners to discuss hypotheticals. You are here, my guest, beloved Brooks and Omar, and it is so good to end up seeing you. Fumiko may not be a cherry blossom, but she is the appropriate instrument for such situations. She has more than once ended up running the Giovanni out of this domain.
He seems
Good.
very dependable. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done there.
No, by all means.
Huh. She seems very dependable.
She is. When I found her, as I traveled to Japan, it was a lovely sight. But to see something so beautiful embraced with such darkness, it was a living poetry of the dead. I pulled her from her garden and brought her to mine. Her sire would have none of it, but I knew what sort of woman she was. And so, when I took her head and took her child and gave her a chance to breathe through freedom off to the Americas, she has been by my side ever since. And I am grateful for the service that she provides not only me, but the entirety of the barony of which I call home.
It's good to have people you can depend on.
She is the most dependable. I understand that we have only just met, but I feel like kinship, Monsieur Brock. You are
Oh,
well
I'm glad to know
spoken.
you, sir.
You are very well spoken. Given what I heard, I knew that your gang would be in good hands. Alas, I feel as though I have taken over the entire conversation. I have not ended up having Monsieur Omen an opportunity to speak his mind.
Omen's wondering, kind of just sitting back observing the conversation. With all the pageantry that's been shown, is he trying to sway us to his side more or less? Because it's odd to gather us here.
I'll tell you what. Make me a roll, but I'm gonna ask for a second roll as well.
Okay.
Alright? So I want you to give me a let's say wits insight.
Okay. I'll rest for this.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Five.
Sway? Maybe? Maybe you're getting the impression that he needs a face-to-face for something. On a completely unrelated note, can you do me a favor and roll a composure subterfuge, both of you?
Composure subterfuge.
I'm looking for a very specific... I have a number in my head. Well, we're going to just treat it as a pass or fail.
Ooh.
Well, here's a question. Do you want to keep that roll, or do you want to end up trying to prevent a potential crit?
I don't want to deal with the compulsion in front of a baron.
You can always roll that one die.
Now I'm going to re-roll 1 dice to try to get rid of a crit.
Okay.
If I roll another 10, I'm going to be so pissed off. Okay, thank
Still
you.
a success.
Right.
So that is a total of 6 and 1. Okay, I'm going to ask... Alright, let's see. Okay, I want you both to answer. Are either of you affected by a blood bond, right?
No.
Nope.
Okay. The rest of these questions will be for Omen. And I need you to answer honestly.
Okay.
What is your exact emotional state? Ashley. Sorry, guys. I will be right back. I'll get. It sounds like you need to think.
Thanks for this, Ruby.
Love you too.
Yeah, I love you. It's just, sorry, my chin itches.
If it makes you feel any better, she's still hungry. So shenanigans. They're gonna come up eventually.
Oh, man.
Which, now that she's under control for the most part, we can actually do this properly.
Oh yeah, you just gotta track her down.
Which shouldn't be too hard.
Just follow the trail of blood.
Trail of blood, look for a redhead.
Because she doesn't have obfuscate, he does. You
She
won't
does,
see
she
him
just-
coming.
She does, she just doesn't have that much yet. However,
He could sneak
see
up
him.
on you anytime he wanted.
She could see him if she wanted to, though.
Suppose we'll have to find out.
I gotta send you something.
How you doing, chat? We're having fun, are you?
Hope you are.
Yeah. As always, we hope to put on the best show we can. I just love that I get to have fun with these guys. I'm so glad it didn't turn into a fight. I'm like, Oh God, but he would not leave Earl behind. That Earl is like, he doesn't go anywhere without Earl.
Someone was
Bro.
willing to fight.
Bro.
Like he would die before he left Earl alone.
Sorry.
He was about
The
to.
heck?
Fumiko was about to slice your goddamn head off.
Right?
Oh yeah.
To quote the chat, you're about to get Sekiro'd.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That was equivalent to the decision I had to make when I had a pistol in my mouth in another game.
In game, of course.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Hold on.
To answer the question,
All right. What's your exact emotional state?
weary. Very weary.
Now, when you say weary, you mean tired, or you mean leery, as in you're not sure, try and keep your guard up?
Oh, weary.
Wary
I
of the
mean,
situation.
yeah.
Okay. All right. What's the one thing you really don't want the bear to know about?
The number one thing
One thing.
that him and his sire were former Camarilla.
Yeah. As you can see, it has been a hard road for many in this city. So many are so used to being amongst the refuse of scrounging that if offered something more, their immediate response is suspicion. Regrettable. Such, I imagine, is the true legacy of Prince Dufresne. We must always stay guarded around each other. Even the barons will refuse to speak save for intermediaries, like your dear friend Adar.
It's been a hard road being in Winnipeg, to say the least.
For many, that is true. I count myself among them, though I know that would be hard to believe. A city who once was under the iron fist of a gangrel? Such things are intolerable to my clan. The clan is how the Camarilla separates. Fumiko is of Clan La Samra. I of Clan Toriado. And yet, we are closer to kin than I can say me and my sire, or even a wayward child.
I honestly can resonate with that. I had a roommate that wasn't of the same clan as me.
It is always heartbreaking to end up knowing what a broodmate fight another. That we are of blood, of family, And yet, we have grown to despise and distrust one another. I am spoken of in certain circles, and I would sooner have you make your judgments of your own volition. I must remain guarded. Umiko does so for me, and I'm eternally grateful to her for it. But as cold as she may be, I can be as well. He gestures with his hand like he's looking for an expression.
Uh, Something about sides of the coin.
Très bien. Oui. Pardon. Anglais? English is not my first language. I've had very little reason to learn it up until the past few decades.
I imagine. Well, I've heard that English is one of the hardest languages to learn.
It is a romantic language like any other. But regardless, he looks on. He seems to the focus split between you two, but you notice he's definitely looking at Owen. Despite our histories, in Winnipeg we have been made as brothers. Lest you come from a sire, Anna, you are Sabat who escaped with a shred of his humanity, or Camarilla, hated enemy. You are now free to explore what and who you are. At least in my city, that is my vision. But I must seem like a doting old fool. Or perhaps you think me weak. I am told it's the accent and the small frame that often makes people think so. I like that. It amuses me greatly. And I hope you think of me as such.
Underestimating someone is definitely a downfall.
True words never spoken, Monsieur Brooks.
Personally, anybody that would think you weak for such petty contrivances is overlooking the simple fact of what you have overcome and built here.
Were it I that built it. No. This, he gestures out the window. This was built by the hands of kind, guided by the vision of those like us. But it is you, me, Umiko, Adair, and Mademoiselle Ruby, who all build such things. That is the true power of the Anarch movement. But not that we may find the spoils of what was left to us by the Camarilla, or to hollow out the garbage and try anew, but to see what we have attained. In truth, I wish all of the city was as beautiful as this piece that I currently reside among. And every day I continue to try and make it just a little bit better. And those who follow me do the same, though their talents may vary. And not all of them with fangs.
Honestly, I can get behind that.
I would like very much to end up knowing you both. Alas, it has been far too long since I have had the chance to speak to parties who are truly neutral. And right now, at that point, he gets a ring on his phone. Pardon. Bonsoir. He starts to listen to the conversation. He starts to speak in vagaries. Ah. I see. Very well then. Keep me informed. He hangs up. Now, just double checking. Anybody doing anything in that or in that little bit at that point?
Oh, I don't have heightened senses, so I can't listen to them.
I don't have heightened senses either, but I would want to see.
You're gonna try anyway. Oh, who knows? You might get a double crit.
All the crit.
I mean,
Given on how many we've had tonight.
I'm more so trying to see if there's any people that are invisible still here.
Good question. Roll it up.
Alright.
Wisdom, aspects. You happy to leave it at 2?
I could only roll 1. I guess try to fish for a crit.
Up to you. It's a willpower, your choice.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Three successes. Omen. There's no one, as far as you can tell, using obfuscate here. But there is something that should catch your attention. The suit he wears has a red aura on it.
I'm actually quite interested in that.
Well, roll me an intelligence occult. You got it. See what you can figure.
Yep. Let me see. Yeah, I'll try to rouse for this because I haven't gotten hungry doing it. So.
And you still haven't, surprisingly.
Okay. Let's see.
That is 3 successes. You want to willpower that, or are you happy with 3?
God damn it. I really want to know, so I gotta.
I'm not twisting your already rubber arm.
It's fine. It's fine. Mm.
5. 5 is really good. You were in the Camarilla for a while there, Omen. When you were in there, you saw such things. One of which is the gift that is often associated with Clan Tremere. You know a ward when you see one. In fact, this one looks oddly familiar. You know this one. This, if you had to guess, is a ward against kindred.
Fuck.
If you were to lay hands on him, you would burn the hand that you placed on him. Maybe you're smart enough to understand that the reason he dresses a little bit antiquated has nothing to do with his personal sense of style. He's effectively wearing the kindred equivalent of a bulletproof vest. Something he may have got, probably something he got a while back.
That begs the question from who?
That is a definite question. And one I think will have to be answered another night. So we're going to close out this night. Winnipeg. Bye.
Holy fuck.
Thanks, Ruby.
Love you.
Do I have to find Ruby?
I'm not sure who's more fucked. Fumiko's right outside, guys. I'm just letting you know that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was going to protest. Like, what? Are we going to do something to the king in his castle? No, we're not suicidal.
I don't know. I've met some kindred before.
I'm looking at a particular player and I'm wondering, man, you step up like that with each and every one of your characters, CJ. Every goddamn one.
There are things when I build a character that there are things he won't compromise on. And I put that in there because of that. Because if that's like the last thing he's holding on to, that makes him him. And
you are giving me so much ammo as a ministry.
Honestly,
if you only knew about any of it.
I don't currently. I will.
Honestly, I fuck with Valor Colton because I wouldn't leave my fucking dog in no random ass park either. So
Yeah.
where my dog goes, if you don't want my dog, you ain't getting me either.
I would have arrived like if Fumiko didn't cave, I probably would have arrived to the Baron without arms and legs.
That was definitely a distinct possibility. Yes, it is the kindred equivalent of handcuffs. Is a hacksaw.
Yep, that or a snake. A snake is also kindred handcuffs.
That's the kindred night bill.
Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed Fumiko and Matthias.
Oh yeah,
I did.
Love him.
Oh, yeah. Matthias is a fucking weasel.
Right?
Do you think so? What makes you think he's a weasel?
No,
he's got an agenda. He's got an agenda.
Everybody's got an agenda.
A
kindred with an agenda. Oh dear God! Whatever will we do?
He's already got his news wrong, so.
Does he?
He's doing things on purpose.
Oh, he knew exactly what happened. He just wanted us here for
no. No,
to get
he
a
knew
read on
exactly
us.
how to say it to you to get you
Yeah.
to open up.
Mm.
You fell right into his honey trap.
Oh, I'm not going to sit there and blow smoke up his ass of something he obviously knows.
You're blowing
That's a
smoke
test
up his
in
ass
itself.
anyway. You're telling him, I agree with you. I agree with you.
I mean, Omen's not one to lie or bullshit people. Well, bullshit, yeah. Actually, try to fucking lie. Yeah, not really.
Oh boy.
But he's
All
like,
right.
yeah, I kind of fuck with
As soon
that.
as Adder learns exactly what you have said,
Mm.
he's going to be like, oh my god,
I
you
Why?
love
should not say anything.
I love
You...
Matthias. I
So
love
do I.
Matthias.
Oh, he's absolutely a Toreador. If there ever was ever a Toreador, he is one. And oh, I don't doubt that he's going to turn into
I view him as the
maybe
I,
not
go ahead.
maybe not as bad as Blanchet, but he's a weasel like Blanchet.
No, he's pretty. He's actually written pretty clearly to be the anti-Blanchet.
Oh, okay.
He's actually like he shares a clan with him, so
That's true.
there are
He's
particular temperaments that they
they're the
share
same. Yeah.
because of the blood,
Hmm.
but personality wise, they couldn't be any further apart.
Right. Yeah, because Blanchet had contempt for everyone,
Yeah,
where Matthias has made it clear that it isn't by kindred hands the city is built, it is by human hands. And he fosters that human first sort of sensibility. At least that's what he says to himself.
yeah. Well, that he's lying to
Yes.
himself or not is up to the question.
Remains to be seen.
But then
Yeah.
it's also argument of what's worse, the psychopath that hates you or the psychopath that loves you, right?
Mhm.
Like it's World of Darkness, and
It's more than darkness.
you can find kindred, even barons and princes who try to do the right thing as much as the situation will allow them, right? But
Mm.
at the end, you can only be a good kindred or you can be a good person. You cannot be both. They're mutually exclusive,
Yep.
and
Which is something that I am intending to explore with Adder.
I hope so.
I'll personally take the person that hates you over the person that loves you because love will make you do some shit. I've seen that in animes and movies and it scares me.
I mean, the
Um,
same is true for Hate You.
Mhm.
Yeah, but at
I,
least it's understandable.
and as little as we've seen it, I absolutely love Matthias and Fumiko's dynamic
She's
because
like the stoic, sort of quiet one in the corner, where he's the over the top sort of
he's a
become
showman.
everybody's best friend sort of showman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just the quiet bodyguard in the corner.
She can be quiet, but the problem is when she gets loud. If she
Yeah.
gets loud, there's problems. These are problems. Yeah, she's
Shit
quiet.
has gone
That's
off the rails.
great.
It's always the
There is
quiet
when it comes to Adder finding Ruby, there was one thing that I wanted to do, but I think we can do
All right.
that next time.
ones.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna end up jumping into. I don't think we have any stains.
I don't think so,
I don't think
but
we
Think
do.
no, actually, there might be
Ooh,
between Adder and Ruby, which is the Chronicle Tenant protect the innocent from harm.
true, true. And Ruby, you went after. It was a distinct possibility.
Mhm.
Mhm.
How do you have any? I'm gonna make that a 2 stain offense. Do you have any personal convictions that would dull it down to 1?
Is that for both of us or just Ruby?
That's for Ruby, not for
Okay.
Adder. Adder did everything
Mhm.
he could to end up protecting. It's just
Yeah.
outside of throwing the masquerade,
Yeah.
which I could
Um.
penalize for you, but I don't feel that's the nature of the Winnipeg Chronicle. That's more of a Detroit thing, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The only one that I could having any sort of chance, and this is slim, is never give up on your desires. She wanted to feed. She needed to feed to
Yeah, but it really
get.
wasn't her
Yeah.
desire. That was more just
Yeah.
something to get out of the way. So I'm gonna end up
Yeah.
saying no. So you're gonna take 2 stains tonight for that.
Okay. Like I said, it was a slim chance. It's a
Yeah.
shot.
If it was something you were actively going after by choice rather than by nature of what you are, I
Yeah.
would give it to you. But,
Yeah.
let's do a remorse roll. First remorse roll of the Chronicle. First humanity lost of the Chronicle.
Ooh, 2 episodes in. Yikes.
Ruby, I believe that already puts you at humanity 6.
Yep.
Damn.
Sex life just got a lot harder.
Sucks to suck, Siren.
Well, I'm gonna have to get used to that alley cat feeding method at this rate. All right, so let's get on to experience. Now, in Winnipeg and all of my chronicles, I do experience a little bit differently here. I give everybody 1 experience for just showing up. All right, that is your participation trophy experience, well earned. You enjoy. Okay. Then we got 3 categories here that are voted by the players: who pushed the plot, who had the best scene, who had the best line. But then there's a 5th dot of experience. That 5th dot of experience comes down to you, the audience. The poll is already up, so make your vote between Adder, Ruby, Omen, and Colton on who you think should end up getting that bonus experience. And we're going to end up starting down the line. So, who ended up getting the plot pusher? Who do you think?
I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Because there was a clear point where the plot divided. So who ended up having it? Colton is throwing it in. I can see it.
I'm gonna throw Adder's hat in the ring because we were kind of finishing up on his connection to Azura Giovanni
Yep.
in that finishing up the containing of the werewolf spirit. She got something real powerful in her hands, and
Yep.
Yeah,
But
even though Adder did not like that fact that we did that. The only reason I was saying I was pushing the plot is I did a lot of wheeling and dealing, and
yeah, you were the one who sealed the deal. So there's definitely an argument there. What do you guys think, Volvo and Raven?
I'll
Split.
go with Adder.
Got one with Adder?
I'll go with Colton.
Okay, we got a split. We got our
The
first split. I think this is our first split of the Chronicle. All right.
Yeah.
So
I'll concede.
You sure?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Colton, you end up taking it with the generosity offered to you by Coffee Cat playing Adder. Remember,
Thank
this
you,
might be a
Coffee.
boon later.
Yeah, definitely no strings attached, right?
Yeah.
Never.
For those who are unaccustomed, the whole point of this particular style of XP is literally to play Vampire the Masquerade politics inside of Vampire the Masquerade. So there will be some wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. Just keep an eye out on and try and figure out who owes who and why particular votes might not seem to make sense. That is half the fun.
Who moved the plot? It was Coffee. Coffee said 2 lines. I'm still voting that way.
Yep, that has happened. Okay, it's a little bit more true in Coffee Cat's game, but in my game, it's built to be this freaking game of deception and backyard politicking, and you're supposed to have fun with it. Don't get mad about it. That's the big thing.
No.
All right. Second, who had the best scene?
I think I'm going to throw my hat in again with me and Matthias. In our whole conversation of
Colton getting greedy for XP. I like it. All right. Let's see who's up next.
I'm gonna vote Ruby.
Specifically for the bleed out?
Yeah, and partially because Adder had to help her ass out.
Which gave you a hell of a scene. So yeah, I can see that. Okay. Nice
I'll
part of-
take it.
All right. We got one Colton, one Ruby. Okay. So Raven, who are you voting?
I'll take it.
All right.
If my name got tossed in.
2-1. Okay.
Oh, time to go Colton again.
Go Colton again. Okay, we got a split. Got a split. All right. No concessions. All right, we're going high or low.
High clan high.
Low can low.
All right.
You have to
Since-
decide.
Since,
We have to agree on it.
We have to
Yep.
agree.
yep.
Yeah.
Because it's either you both
Oh.
win it or
Or
nobody
neither
gets
of
it.
us get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You both win it or you both don't. Yep.
That there is a consequence for tying it. It's a case of you could be going for broke and get both, or you can both be screwed. So that's one of the things that I would imagine, because Coffee is a bit of an altruistic personality, you will typically give up the vote. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah.
So the question here is, how much? do you
I'll
want
switch
that
to
XP?
low.
Okay.
I'll switch to
Low?
low.
You both
Very
get it.
rarely
it's a
is
4.
there ever a tie in my games.
True. Colton, congratulations. Artemis Moon contributed a lot of channel points to keep this thing tied up. Like Colton gets the audience XP. Congratulations.
Oh
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh.
All
I
right.
like you.
Thank you very much, Artemis Rose. All right.
Wow.
So, final one. Who has the best line outside of me? Because apparently I just am full of freaking zingers today.
Always.
I will throw mine in there. I like being covered in blood, but on my terms.
I will second that, but I want an honorable mention for it sings to me.
I'm throwing my hat in the ring for suit yourself.
That was good. It's like, yeah, okay. You want to
Yeah.
do this? Okay.
Well, give mine coffee.
You're digging your own grave at this point.
Okay, we got 2 for Coffee, 1 for
Hmm.
Ruby. I guess the final vote goes to Colton.
I guess we're going to coffee.
Hey.
The boom pays off quick. I don't like being in debt.
There we go. And there
We clear these books.
Yeah. Pay your boons, kids.
Exactly.
Adder still has one he needs to pay, and he doesn't like
Ask
owing
any
anybody.
student, debt sucks.
Adder is getting that debt paid off as quickly as possible to Preacher.
Right?
Yep.
Doesn't like owing anybody.
Thank you guys for a wonderful game tonight.
No worries.
Thank you for not getting your head chopped off.
Right.
All right.
I didn't think my head was
We're-
in danger.
we're
I just thought my limbs were.
We're going to continue on with
It's an Anarch
this-
game. What do you take? What do you take us for? It's
All right.
kill or be killed in this city.
It's true. All right. We're going to end up raiding into Void Doll, who is also doing their own VTM Chronicle, Bound by Night, Episode 10, Malcolm in the Middle of Vampire Politics. Say goodnight, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
It's
Oh.
blood.
Also, one quick mention. I will not be here broadcasting tomorrow as I'm still nursing a shoulder. So I'm going to end up here taking tomorrow off to continue to nurse it, get caught up on a few things, and I will see you guys Tuesday. All right?
Hope you feel better, bro.
Alright.
I hope so.
Yay.
It's blood.